Y'all want to see how an airbrush breaks down? I gotta replace the needle in my airbrush tonight. Alright, so here's where the paint goes. I've been airbrushing a while. Just don't talk about it very often. I don't know, I just use it to prime stuff mostly. So that's where the paint goes in. Take the tip off. So here's where the needle goes through. This just kind of keeps the paint focused. All right, here's the needle. I don't know if this will show up on camera, but so it retracts in. So that's the tube that paint comes down. If you look at it, around this thing is where the air actually comes through, and it travels through so quickly that when you retract the needle, there's paint in this little tube around the needle, right? The air pressure causes, I guess, a lower area of pressure, and it actually siphons the paint out of the tube. So that's kind of the physics behind an airbrush, or my probably bad explanation for it anyway. So check the back out. All right, so here's the needle. Then there's this piece which pinches some metal together. I'll try to undo this here. It'll take a minute. All right, so here's the part that was pinching, right? You can see there's some grooves cut into this, which allows it to be compressed when the little screw thing is tightened onto it. So I took that out. Now I'm going to undo this other little spring mechanism. This little piece here, you can't see it very well, that right there actually is what this little thing pushes back on to retract the needle. So let's take off the spring from the needle. We need to do that to actually pull a needle out easily. So this has a lot of threads. I need to clip my fingernails. Whatever. Yeah, it's out. Well, it's unscrewed anyway. This always trips me up a little bit. There we go. Got it. And there's the spring. Cool. Neat. Neato. It's hollow because the needle goes through it. And it clamps onto the needle to move it back and forth with the spring. This is actually, I didn't mention this, this is called a dual action airbrush because you can control how much air is flowing and how much paint you allow to flow. Single action airbrushes, you just push up and down, you can't pull it back and forth, so either the air and the paint are flowing or they're not. They're good for beginners. I bought the more advanced version, probably didn't need to, but I did. So here's the needle. It's very fine. This one's a 0.3 millimeter needle, so it's so fine it doesn't even show up on my camera very well. I'm replacing the needle for a big one because, as I said, a bigger one, because as I said, I mostly just prime stuff. Now I need to actually take the needle nozzle off. This is really difficult. I might have to pause the video actually and go get the little wrench for it if I can't pinch it and turn it with my fingers. I don't usually put the nozzle on real tight. These are very easy to break too, so I'm trying to be careful. I think it's working. Yep, there it is, the nozzle. I don't know if this will show up either, but it also has like a little O-ring to help seal it. Whatever, it doesn't show up well. And then there's this last piece, which it's kind of a pain in the ass to get back in, but I'll pull it out anyway. So if you look at this, there's a little groove cut in it that the needle can slot through. And then there's this little brass piece, which goes down inside the airbrush into that hole. That helps you to control the airflow. There's a little spring in here, and the air compressor gets attached to these threads down here, so the air comes up through here, and the paint is gravity fed from above. So now I got to reassemble this with my 0.5 millimeter needle. So this is going to take forever, but you waited this long, right? I'm going to put this back on just because I'm an amateur and I like to have something to grab onto to manipulate this thing a little easier. I'll probably screw this up, but putting it back together, it's kind of hard. So I'm going to first take this brass piece and stick it back down in here. It's always the hardest part for me. Getting it lined up is difficult. Oh, did I do it? No, of course not. Ah, got it. Cool. Not too bad. All right, so that's in. Now we got to put the spring mechanism back in. So let's put it in the right way. Like that. Okay, back in there. Okay, back against that. Start twisting it. Remember, this is the thing that has about 1,000,000 threads. This takes a moment. Twist, 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 twist. Neato, let's see if I screwed it up. Yeah, feels right. All right. Let me think. What should I do next? Probably the nozzle, right? So the little kit I bought online was like 10 bucks. Came with more needles than I needed, but and nozzles and everything. But here's the nozzle for the 0.5 millimeter. Pop that bad boy open. See how tiny it is. Oh, it's stuck in my hand. There we go. Itty bitty bitty. Again, it isn't showing up well, but whatever. Let's put it on here. Sorry about that. So I'm twisting the needle on. You notice the O-ring or whatever to keep the seal nice and tight. There we go. Think I got it. Yep, good enough. All right, now let's bust up this bad boy. Boop. Nice. Stab myself with it. That'll be cool. All right. Now I'm going to make sure I keep these straight. The other one's 0.3. Let's just set that off to the side because that would be awful if I got them mixed up after all this work. All right. So let's put the needle into the little tube here. And we'll watch the other end to make sure it pops out. Hopefully I didn't make any mistakes here. Okay, push, push, push. And I think that... Yeah. So I'll pull it back out so you can see it if you didn't see it. But yeah, there. There's the needle. I've pushed it in the hole. All right. Next. This little bad boy, remember we were talking about how it clamps onto the threads here so that the spring mechanism can pull the needle forward and back to control the flow of paint. All right, let's make sure it works again. Hey, I did it. Cool. All right. This part I'm not sure about. All right. Put this back on here. Tighten it on. Ooh. Neat. All right, and then the last part. This little guy just protects the needle and gives you something to hang on to. Done. Now I can use my air gun again.